Donald Rumsfeld Fast Facts. Here's a look at the life of former U.S. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. Personal birth date July 9, 1932. Birthplace Chicago, Illinois. Birth name Donald Harold Rumsfeld. Father George Donald Rumsfeld, a real estate salesman. Mother Jeannette, Huster, Rumsfeld. Marriage Joyce, Pierson, Rumsfeld. Children Nick, Marcy, and Valerie. Education Princeton University, B.A. Political Science, 1954. Military service U.S. Navy pilot and flight instructor, 1954 to 1957. U.S. Navy Reserves, 1957 to 1989. Retired as a captain. Other facts: Rumsfeld has won the Presidential Medal of Freedom, 1977, and the Woodrow Wilson Award from Princeton University, 1985. Was captain of the football and wrestling teams at Princeton. Timeline: 1957 to 1959, administrative assistant to Ohio Congressman David Dennison. 1959, joins the staff of Michigan Congressman Robert Griffin. 1960 to 1962, works at investment banking company A.G. Becker in Chicago. 1962, selected to the House of Representatives from Illinois' 13th District. During Rumsfeld's years in Congress, he supports the war in Vietnam and the 1964 Civil Rights Act, while opposing many of President Johnson's Great Society programs. 1964, 1966 and 1968, is re-elected to the House. 1969, is appointed Director of the Office of Economic Opportunity by President Richard Nixon. 1971 to 1972, Counselor to President Nixon and Director of the Economic Stabilization Program. 1973 to 1974, Ambassador to NATO. 1974 to 1975, Chief of Staff for President Gerald Ford. 1975 to 1977, Secretary of Defense under President Ford. 1977, awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. 1977 to 1985, returns to private life as President and CEO of G.D. Serlin Company, a pharmaceutical firm. 1983, visits the Middle East on a diplomatic mission as a special representative of President Ronald Reagan. 1985, is appointed senior advisor to William Blair and Company, an investment bank based in Chicago. 1990 to 1993, CEO of General Instrument Corporation. 1996, economic advisor and national chairman for the presidential campaign of Bob Dole. 1997, is named chairman of the board of Gilead Sciences. 1998, chairs the bipartisan commission to assess the ballistic missile threat to the United States. December 28, 2000, nominated by President-elect George W. Bush as Secretary of Defense. January 20, 2001, Rumsfeld becomes the Secretary of Defense. At the time, he is the oldest person appointed as Defense Secretary. When Rumsfeld served as Secretary of Defense in the Ford administration, he was the youngest person to hold that post. March 23, 2004, Rumsfeld testifies before the 9/11 Commission. May 2004, makes a surprise trip to Iraq. Visits Abu Ghraib prison in the wake of a detainee abuse scandal. November 8, 2006, President Bush announces that Rumsfeld is stepping down and will be replaced by Robert Gates. September 7, 2007, the Hoover Institution, a conservative think tank at Stanford University, announces that Rumsfeld has been appointed as a distinguished visiting fellow. The move draws criticism from the school's faculty, staff, students and alumni. Thousands sign an online petition objecting to the appointment. December 11, 2008, a Senate Armed Forces Committee report on detainee treatment is released. The committee concludes that Rumsfeld's authorization of harsh interrogation techniques at the detention center in Guantanamo Bay directly caused the abuse of prisoners there. February 2011, Rumsfeld's book, Known and Unknown, a memoir is published. August 29, 2013, The Unknown Known, Errol Morris's documentary about Rumsfeld, premieres at the Telluride Film Festival. June 6, 2015, The Times of London publishes an article, "Bush was wrong on Iraq," says Rumsfeld. In the story, Rumsfeld says he had doubts about the viability of establishing a democracy in Iraq. Days later, Rumsfeld tells CNN that his remarks do not contradict his previous statements defending the decision to invade Iraq.